Welcome to the Wealth Detective Podcast. Are you ready to become your own wealth detective, to find money in new ways and experience wealth like never before? Well, come along for some wild stories that will teach you, inspire you, maybe even shock you a little bit. And let's get ready to build wealth together. All right, welcome back. And I sure really hope that the title of my podcast episode got your attention and that you're a little bit intrigued, as you should be. Okay, so we're going to maybe deviate a little. Well, it's not that far off of what I usually speak on, but we're going to just get real for a minute. One interesting thing that I have seen in many dating experiences is that no man thinks they are the man we are talking about. Because let's be honest, there is a big shift from patriarchy to matriarchy, equality, women empowerment, women's rights, basically just women actually just taking their rightful place in society. That's really what it is. It's actually not even, a lot of men feel like it's a power struggle. They feel like it is a being overthrown, all these different things, and they are handling it quite well. That was sarcastic. But the thing that I have found the most intriguing is that the men I talk to don't think they are the men that are the problem. Now, let me be clear. That doesn't mean all men are bad. That does not mean that men aren't needed. They are. It doesn't mean that a guy can't be a good person while also having some things they should probably be looking at that they're unwilling to. Okay. So recently I was dating a guy and it was surprising to me how often he would say, "Wow, you've had a lot of guys do really, really awful things to you. I'm so sorry. I can't believe men have been so terrible." Okay. And he said some form of that multiple times. Okay. Now, I'm a pretty aware dater. I am pretty good at reading people. I am pretty clear on what I'm looking for and what I'm not looking for. And I'm pretty good at seeing patterns. So I just made note of this because at the beginning, I didn't know him that well. I just was like, okay, interesting statement, interesting comments, whatever. The fascinating thing is that every single thing that he had said, "Wow, men have been really shitty to you," were exact things that he later did to me. Okay, let me say that again. Everything that he was stating was so terrible and awful about men were all things that he eventually did to me. Now, I say did to me. Am I a victim here? No, I am not. However, what I am saying is that if more men would actually realize that they are the men we are talking about, that's when actual change would happen. If men would actually look at themselves and say, rather than being like, "Oh, of course I'm an ally. Of course I stand up for women. Of course I would never do that," and actually said, "What if I have done that? What if there is validity here? What if, as much as I do want to stand up for women, what if I have actually done some of these things to women?" And let me tell you, it's going to be a gut punch. Hands down, it's going to be a gut punch. A friend recently shared a statistic with me, and I should probably go re-listen to her message because she's actually really good at remembering the details and I am not. However, the gist of the study was they asked X amount of men, "Have you ever sexually assaulted a woman?" And it was like 30% or probably less. I should probably go check on the actual number. I do apologize. If anyone would like the actual statistic, let me know and I can find it. But it was a very, very low number. Okay. I think it was actually even less than 30%, but we're going to give them grace and say 30% actually admitted that they had sexually assaulted a woman. So they took the same group of men and they said, "Okay, have you ever used manipulation, coercion, some sort of insult or any sort of manipulation, any coercion, okay, to get a woman to sleep with you by pushing her boundaries, by, just pushing a little farther. 96% said yes. Those two things are the exact same. Sexual assault and manipulation and coercion to get a woman to sleep with you are the same thing. So when we put the words that are quote unquote socially acceptable, men are like, well, yeah, I guess I have, blah, blah, blah. If we say sexual assault, of course not. How dare we say that they would do that? That is offensive. They would never disrespect a woman like that. And I call bullshit. It is something that I am completely 100% done with. Because here's the thing. I have very high sexual standards. Am I a sexual person? Yes. Most guys that I have sexual experiences with, I never sleep with. Like 99% of the men I never sleep with. And guess what the number one reason men break up with me or that I have a relationship end is because I won't sleep with them. Even men that have literally said, I love you, or insinuated it but didn't say the actual words because they were scared. Ultimately, when I was not willing to give a blowjob I didn't want, a hand job I didn't want, touch them where I wanted, I said, no, not just the tip. No, we will have a condom, period. Any one of those things. Suddenly they're out. So let me guess, is that love? No. Do I genuinely believe that some of these men actually did care for me? Yes. Do I believe that to a degree they were being kind because they cared to a degree? Sure. Let's give them some grace. Okay. However, the minute I continue to keep my standard and my boundaries, they could not handle it. Nor were they willing to admit that they are part of the problem. Because I have a 90-day rule. I don't sleep with someone within the first 90 days. Most men cannot handle that, nor will they handle that. And a lot of them, it all comes down to, you don't care about my pleasure. You don't care about me enjoying the experience. And I look at them and say, really? So the only way that you can enjoy a sexual experience is if there's an orgasm for you. Because for me, the whole experience is pleasure. The whole experience is the connection, is the process. Sure, if there's an orgasm at the end for one or both of us, beautiful. And that's even before I tell them that there's no entrance into my body unless I orgasm first. And so I keep that to myself at this point because I can't handle the man fits that get thrown at me when I tell them that that's my rule. But if they don't get an orgasm every single time, even if they state, no, I agree, it is about the experience. No, I don't have to have it. Oh, but you don't care about my pleasure. Well, let me tell you, men, an orgasm is a definite for you. An orgasm is not a definite for a woman. So if more men would go into sexual experiences with the mindset that an orgasm is not an expectation, it is not a requirement, I guarantee you'd be getting laid more. My most healing sexual experience happened after, and I did not realize it in the moment, how much I had pissed off this man. Okay. But he left. And when he came back the next day, and I said, hey, thank you for not getting angry about what I said last night. And he said, I actually was really angry. I was like, really? He said, yeah, but I went home. And as I sat with it, he was like, do I still want to be with her, even if I never get my own sexual pleasure? And he said, yes. So he came back. And it wasn't immediate, but sure as hell I slept with him, and he was very surprised. He really never thought that I would sleep with him, and he never expected it. And because of that, and this is not just an outlier experience, talk to any sex therapist, talk to any healthy relationship couple, true healthy sexual relationship, okay? And the less expectations there are, the more often you will probably get laid. But there's damn well sure that if there is unexpressed expectation or even expressed expectation or manipulation or coercion or force or any of the other things, you bet that you will not be getting laid. You will be sexually assaulting women, and we will continue to fight back. And we will continue to say, no, you do not get access to my body. No, you do not get access to my peace, my satisfaction, my joy, my pleasure. Because here's the thing. Each of our pleasures is our own responsibility. It is. So I'm in charge of my own pleasure. If I get pleasure from someone else, fabulous. That's amazing. I am very grateful. But I have no requirement to have someone else. I don't. And neither do you. And it goes the same for men. But they are taught, and all of us are taught, that our sexual pleasure is dependent on another person, and that we have to have another person, and that they have to fulfill all of our sexual needs. That is false. So yet again, I know that most of my audience are women. However, it is good for you to have this awareness, because even in marriages, this happens all the time. Rape and sexual assault happens all the time in marriage. If you are a man listening to this, I genuinely invite you to ask yourself and look at yourself and say, oh, I am the man these women are talking about. Oh, I have manipulated, coerced, or had expectations. Oh, if I'm part of the problem, what can I do to fix it? How can I show up better? How can I hold the other men around me more accountable and tell them that they're the men too? And again, let me be clear. Not all men are bad. Men are needed in this world. We need men. Women desire partnership. We desire love. We desire connection. We desire sexual experiences. And we are done. We are done with all of that. And so, yes, is there a quote, which I hate this, male loneliness epidemic? Because it's bullshit. Yeah, but guess what? Women have been lonely for years. And so guess who could actually fix that? Because women are actually very happy lonely at this point. And I shouldn't say lonely. We are very happy single at this point. And we finally have the freedoms to be able to be single, to support ourselves, to do all the things. So if you're a man listening to this and you're feeling pretty pissed, good. Change. Get the help that you need. And recognize that yes, when we talk about the men that are the problem, you're probably one of them. And it can change. Women are pretty damn forgiving and pretty willing that if a man is actually genuinely and authentically looking at himself and working on himself, we are all on board for that. We desire partnership. But until we actually get true partnerships and not whiny ass boys, it's not going to happen. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode of Condoms, Blowjobs, and Breakups, because you better believe that me and that guy broke up. So just remember that your money and hell yes life is out there. Let's find it together and have a fabulous day. If you enjoyed this episode, there are more tips, tricks, and fun ways to bring in money in my weekly newsletter. Sign up and get all the juicy details every single Monday.